This video is brought to you by...
Hey, what's up? What it is? Yeah, it's your boy AC Green. And we at the end of the year again. And what I came to do is to come and thank you personally for supporting the brand all year long. And also what we want to do over here at Cool Green Clothing to show to you our appreciation and love and support for you that you've been having for us all year long. What we're going to do is we're going to kick Black Friday off early just for you. So go online right now at coolgreenclothing.com and take advantage of these amazing sales that we got going on right now. And also, by the way, you already know, if you ain't cool and getting the green, you're in the way. And that's just basic.
What's going on, YouTube fam? This your boy Tony 2 times, and we back with another episode of the Baltimore Way, man. Before I start, be sure to tap that like button. Definitely watch this video to the end to hear the full story and all the details in the case. For the day one fam, y'all already know it's all love. Thanks for tuning back into another episode. If you're new to the channel and you feeling the content, feel free to subscribe. Definitely hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time we drop a new video. Let's get right into the story. When you think about older men and women, maybe in their 50s and up, it's just something about knowing they have been through so much and lived through different generations and watched the world change. Makes you gravitate to them, soak up wisdom, and listen to their life experiences. I remember when I was 16, after my mother passed away, it was just me and my great-grandmother living in the house. I was knee deep into my street phase and couldn't nobody tell me nothing. And after I lost my mother, I wanted to crash out. But I would go in a room with Granny and talk for hours. She would let me know I've been where you've been and past where you're trying to get to. I see where you're going and how it ends. Just putting me up on game, telling me I'm smarter and more capable than I thought I was. She was the only person that could calm me down and make me take a minute to think. And one of the few people that wrote me while I was in prison after I disobeyed everything she told me not to do, and exactly that this would happen. After I lost her in my 20s, life just felt different. But this story not about me. My point is, some older people just have an energy that makes you gravitate to them. In most neighborhoods, you could catch a few hoppers or teens looking out for the older people on the block, helping them walk up the steps, maybe with yard work, things like that. It gives you the impression this young man or woman must have been raised right to respect their elders. But in this story we're about to get into, I had more questions than answers of who would want to do what was done and why. And on this episode of the Baltimore Way, we'll discuss a case of a 14-year-old boy accused of slaying his 83-year-old elderly neighbor. Back in 2018, Miss Dorothy May Neil was an 83-year-old woman originally from Clayton, Alabama, but migrated to Baltimore, Maryland early on. Growing up in the South, Miss Dorothy had been through a lot early in her life, living through Jim Crow, segregation, and the civil rights era. When she arrived to the city, she left most of her family in the South. Not too much is known about her reasons for relocating, but when she arrived, she enjoyed what Baltimore had to offer. She settled down in West Baltimore in Rosemount Garden Apartments on Winchester Street. By 2018, Miss Dorothy had been in the area for over 30 years, and everyone liked and loved her and looked out for the older lady, as she was known as the nice lady, sweet with southern charm, getting around, catching the bus, walking with her cane. Other neighbors in the area often went by to check on Miss Dorothy at her basement apartment or keep her company since she didn't have any family around and she was up in age. The young men and women will also look out for her, including one 14-year-old boy named Tyrone Harvin. Tyrone was her neighbor and lived in the building across from her with his mother and stepfather. Known to be a nice and respectful young man who often visited Miss Dorothy, helped her with groceries, helped her clean her apartment, anything he felt she would have a hard time doing. The two seemed to have a close bond. In August of that year, a few neighbors grew concerned when they didn't see or hear from Miss Dorothy. Some people even stopped by and knocked on her door, but with no response. It was strange because even at 83 years old, she was always on the move. One neighbor grew really concerned because of a prior incident where Miss Dorothy fell down a flight of steps. She thought it was time for her to go to a senior home around people and staff who could monitor her more closely. After a few days, one neighbor decided to call BPD to do a welfare check. On August 29th, they arrived to the apartment and noticed spots of blood by the front door. As they entered the home, they found Miss Dorothy laying on the floor unconscious. She was rushed to the University of Maryland, but unfortunately, just one day later, Miss Dorothy passed away from her injuries. As news spread around, there was a dark cloud over the neighborhood. Who would want to hurt the nice elderly lady? As more details came out, it was shocking. The cause of her passing was blunt force trauma, a head injury caused by a broken lamp found on the scene. Certain other things were done to the older woman as well, suggesting an assault of sexual nature. On the scene was bloody clothes and a few condoms. In total, 28 items were taken in for evidence. As the community grieved, Miss Dorothy was sent and laid to rest in her home state of Alabama. A cash reward was put out for any information on the incident, but BPD had no suspects. When detectives did forensics on the items found at the scene, they found fingerprints on one of the condoms. Police then linked the fingerprint to a database, then got a hit on a young man that lived in the area and was actually Miss Dorothy's neighbor, 14-year-old Tyrone Harvin. As he was taken in for questioning, at first he allegedly denied he knew Miss Dorothy at all. When police pressed a little harder, he stated he helped her with chores and they were close. He was just scared to tell them because of what was going on, but stated he would never hurt her. Tyrone had a previous juvenile charge of him and another hopper robbing a young man for a phone. That's how he was even in the system in the first place. With no other suspects, BPD charged Tyrone with first-degree hit and other charges related to what took place in the home, including assault. At just 14 years old, he was the youngest homicide suspect in Baltimore's history, charged as an adult. In fact, he had just turned 14. The community was in shock on how a sweet young man who always helped her could be accused of taking Miss Dorothy's life. His mother spoke to the news days after Tyrone was arrested. She cried in disbelief and stated, "My son would never do this. He is too loving. That's somebody's grandmother. My son wouldn't hurt that elderly lady. He cared about her." And when she spoke to Tyrone from jail, he told her like, "Ma, I didn't do that. I don't know why they charged me." People were torn, as some felt the young man wasn't capable and others was calling him a monster. The only thing connecting him to the incident was the fingerprint. But it was questions why no other suspects were interviewed. Court documents claimed the day it happened, Tyrone was in fact at Miss Dorothy's house helping her with chores, like always, before allegedly putting his plan in motion and launching the attack. As the high-profile case made its way to court, Tyrone's lawyers argued the young man was a good kid who had just got off the box for his robbery case on good behavior, and he was a little delayed for somebody his age compared to others, and then possessed the mental state to do something like this, assuming police had the wrong person or he was framed. Tyrone's brother said they were walking with a friend one day, it all could have happened, when they heard a woman screaming and ran home and told their mother. But Tyrone didn't go to Miss Dorothy's home that day. 3 years after the incident, at just 17 years old, Tyrone was found guilty on all charges and sentenced to life in prison. His lawyers requested the young man be sent to the youth offender program at Patuxent so he could receive clinical treatment for his mental state. Prosecutors thought the life sentence was appropriate because of the nature of the crime, also stating Tyrone acted alone with no outside influence. Some were in shock, stating Miss Dorothy was old enough to be Tyrone's great-grandmother. As of now, the young man is still incarcerated, serving his sentence. Rest in peace to Miss Dorothy. I send my deepest prayers and condolences to her family. I couldn't imagine how I would feel if this was my grandmother. I'm gonna end this one with a few questions. Do y'all think the police should have did more investigation, or do they have the right person? As some feel, Tyrone was railroaded because of his juvenile conviction, because the only physical evidence was one fingerprint. But of course, we all know that's enough for a conviction. At only 14 years old, was Shorty old enough to be that cold and calculated to befriend a woman and do this? Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Definitely be respectful. Yeah, man. Rest in peace to Miss Dorothy. I ain't gonna talk too much more about this one. Y'all definitely let me know what y'all think. I appreciate you if you made it to the end. This is another episode of the Baltimore Way. It's your boy Tony 2 times. Love, fam. I'm out.